I mean, you say the electorate is apathetic. Do you think it's because they can afford to be? Absurdity says we shouldn't do anything because we don't matter is the usual denial argument, amusingly usually followed by saying we are actually on track to commitments. No, no, you're not on track to commitments. You're definitely not. Well, no, you kind of are, because Australia has committed to nothing. Australia has made no commitments, and therefore you are on track to meeting those commitments. That is actually technically true. Look, here's the thing. What I'm saying is, not to excuse what the Australians are doing with climate change. It's possible that climate change can be fixed without Australia's participation. But that doesn't mean that you should do nothing, because you're gonna fall behind, right? As the rest of the world moves to a green economy and everyone else is making money in this new economy, Australia will be left behind and will not be participating in the new technologies. Absurdity says part of it is the media all owned by Murdoch. That's also a problem. Hey, Absurdity, why don't you start your own media? Do you have like alternative media in Australia? Like left-wing alternative voices? Maybe like you can like start a YouTube channel. Maybe you need to be an activist now. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Absurdity says, I mean, the coal mining industry relies on the rest of the world continuing to import it. Well, yes. Yes, it does. And for now, the world will continue to import. But they'll continue to import until they don't, and then the whole coal industry will just be left out to dry. Be hung out to dry. I mean, what I mean, Absurdity, is that like everyone else is changing, but Australia is not. And at some point, the changes will be so significant that Australia can't catch up anymore. Absurdity says the activists are called Get Up and they're boogeyman for the mainstream media, but they focused all on one side and wasted their resources. No, I think you need more Absurdity. You can't rely on just one group to do one thing. If you're gonna mobilize, you need to mobilize. Like, you need a lot of voices. Alright, iron there. And then this should probably go up at some point. Let me like knock down these trees. Hey, is the Labour Party in Australia also old white dudes? Maybe they don't want to win that much. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13. 3, 4, and 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, that's right. 20. Alright, absurdity says I'm more likely to immigrate than to try to fix this country. That's fair. The Labour Party has fixed their process so no leftists can get in. The Greens have too much baggage. There would need to be a new party. No, they have a quota for white women too. As I said, they're not a real opposition to capital. Okay. Alright, I hear you. So they're basically also old and white on the Labour side. And they've managed to... So it's not a healthy democracy, right? It's a democracy where they get votes by keeping out opposing voices as opposed to allowing opposing voices to speak and then having the best ideas win. Well, so I mean, I stand by my statement then that there needs to be activism and insurgency from the left. Like you need pirate media. you need people rebelling against the Labour Party as well as the right wing. But anyway, you say you're more likely to leave, which is also understandable. From the regional loop, so we're coming in. Gold is on that side. 1, 2, 2, 3. It's almost 4:20. I might finish this before I stop streaming today because I wanna like be done with punching today and then next week come back and just go straight into the junctions. So let me keep going with this for a little while longer. 3. Australia, 1, 2, 3. Are there any poor people in Australia? I know that sounds like a ridiculous question. But like, are there poor people? And how poor are they? What I'm trying to say is, if the poorest people are comfortably middle class, maybe that's exactly the kind of government that you would get. Like, I'm thinking blue collar, working class. Absurdity says, I've never been much of a patriot in the first place. The militarism and jingoism they've infused into Anzac Day and education in general is also a problem, and Labour has nothing to say about that. No, it sounds like you should say it, if no one else is saying it. Really though, this is just the lucky country syndrome, yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Leading to its inevitable and terminal conclusion. Yes, there are many poor people, homeless people, people on welfare can't afford daily meals, wages are stagnant and have been for years, the cost of living is a huge and growing issue. You know, I don't see that being talked about. Absurdity. I mean, that's why I asked that ridiculous question. Are there poor people in Australia? Because your country has managed to completely make them invisible. Like, they're just invisible, nobody sees them. Or at least I don't see them. Maybe you see them, I don't see them. Like, maybe they've done such a good job of, like, suppressing their voices that... And that's why, you know, Labour never wins. I mean, you talk about wages not rising and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a common story in a lot of parts of the world. It's I mean, it's a global thing. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The thing is, if you don't hear about it, then people can get complacent. Like, people can be blissfully ignorant. I mean, personally, I'm lucky, right? I have a bit of money. I'm not desperately poor. But I'm concerned about other people, and so I will vote for society's interests, not just my own interests. But if the mainstream media doesn't talk about their interests, and there's no insurgent media to talk about their interests, I might just be ignorant and just not realize I need to vote the other way. Absurdity says it's not just a matter of being poor, but the psychological acceptance of being poor. Australians hate that. Ah, right. Can you elaborate? I don't know if you want to elaborate. In fact, I don't really have too much time. Let me keep punching. Maybe we have to leave this for next week. Do you feel like there's a lot of self-deception going on? The lucky country syndrome is a problem. It makes people complacent. And complacency is the death of all success. The final word is that Labour deserves to lose, but nobody deserves to win. No, something needs to be done, absurdity. Something needs to be done. There needs to be a shake-up. I mean, the terrifying thing is that it's quite likely that only a huge disaster will shake things up, and you're just sitting there waiting for that disaster to happen. Absurdity says, well, the people getting franking credits call themselves self-funded retirees despite relying on government assistance. Self-funded retirees? How much money do they have? If you don't have like $1 million invested, you're not really self-funded. At least $500,000 invested, and then you'd have to invest in like fairly high risk stuff to get the returns necessary to be self-funded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Absurdity says, yeah, the next test isn't the election, it's the next major undesirable climate disaster. It's first major undeniable climate disasters. I mean, I don't know how you can still deny it. You're almost in perpetual drought already. How can you still deny anything about climate change? Perpetual drought. The drought never ends. Yeah, no, I have lived in Australia for a few years. I do have a little bit of a sense of what Australians can do. You're right, they will manage to deny it somehow. Absurdity says late night on the Fox news station. Check it out to see climate denial on demand. Yeah, no, I don't want to see it. I know it's there. I have no interest in watching Fox. Oh, Sky News. Same thing. Same difference. They are basically the same thing. I mean, it's Murdoch, so, you know. And it's, I mean, if you understand even a little bit of science, you'd realize how vulnerable Australia is to climate change. I did my PhD on this, did you know that? I have a PhD, and I was in Australia, in Melbourne, doing my PhD, and I was looking at climate change. You look at a satellite map, or like a satellite image of Australia, you can see like desert and then a little bit of green down the south, and you have like Perth and Adelaide and Melbourne down there. And what climate change does is that it will move the desert further south. And like these major cities are right on the edge of the line between sand and plants. You can see like the yellows up there and then the greens down there. And if the desert moves south just a little bit, all your major cities are in desert. It's so vulnerable to climate change, Australia is. Anyway, I suggest you have an exit plan ready, is what I'm saying. It's a disaster. It's gonna be a huge disaster. Anyway, alright, so I'm done punching dirt today. I'm gonna end the video and the stream around about here. Good ranting with you again, Absurdity. Let me end the video for YouTube.